What is going on, everybody? Back at it again. Another reaction, man. Lonk's takes, you feel me? Since season 4, dropped. Of Invincible dropped, you feel me? This is the perfect video to watch right now. On the cool. I think episode 4 just dropped like I think yesterday, so I gotta watch that shit too. I gotta edit all them Invincible videos, but yeah. Don't trust them. They coming on the channel. Trust. That first episode. Lord have mercy. Cashman and Mark. Now watch the second episode too. I got to edit it though, but damn. But yeah, could Mark defeat the big three? The short answer to that is no. No. He might have a chance. I lied. I take that back. He might have a chance against Naruto at least. I want to say Naruto at least Naruto, but Bleach niggas hell nah. Bleach niggas hell the fuck nah. Like early Naruto, maybe even like early Shippuden. You know what I mean? I might have to get that to him. I ain't gonna hold you. We're gonna see though. We're gonna see, man. Anyway, hit the other like, man. Comment down below, subscribe, all that good jazz. Subscribe to Lonk, bro. Get bro to 100,000. Tight shit. Interesting topic. Let's go, bro. Let's dive on the
The Invincible cartoon returns with Season 4, a season that will probably bring some of the biggest and most hype moments in the entire series. And so I can't think of a better time to get back into the power scaling of the series. At this point though, I think it's gotten pretty redundant here on YouTube comparing Invincible's universe to that of Dragon Ball. While Saiyans and Viltrumites have many similarities, they ultimately can't keep up with Dragon Ball's massive scale. Instead, I'd like to focus on Mark Grayson specifically, as he's probably one of the closest things we have to a Western version of an anime shonen protagonist. After all, we trace his life from the very beginning and go all the way to his adulthood, Mark being a character with a single complete story, much more like a manga and less like the other popular Western comic book superheroes. So how does Mark compare to some of the most iconic shonen protagonists of all time, who for more than 2 decades have still dominated popular culture? Of course, I'm talking about the big three: Naruto, Luffy, and Ichigo. And yes, this is the big three. No Dragon Ball, no Goku, no other anime that...
Yeah, it's the big three, bro. This is the big three. You know what I'm saying? And then the Dragon Ball above them niggas. God. Kami-sama. Speaking of big three, bro, I got a... Bro, so I heard we getting a One Piece remake. Nigga, with no filler. Bro, I'm gonna eat that up. I know people, because I haven't watched the live action of One Piece at all. Like, at all. I didn't watch season 1. I might, maybe when I'm bored, I might give it a shot and check it out. But I heard we getting the freaking One Piece anime remake. Oh my god, I will definitely watch those first couple of arcs. In the beginning arcs. Oh, hell yeah. Because animation has evolved so much since that shit came out. It is crazy. Bro. I still gotta watch Egg Island and shit like that. I haven't started that arc yet, so yeah. Then I also saw that Mr. Beast want to remake Naruto. He wanna fund the shit. I'm down with that shit too. Hey, do what you gotta do. You feel me? But yeah, I'm down with that.
You can name. Regardless, would Invincible be able to defeat all of them, some of them, or is he getting the Omni-Man treatment? Today, we're gonna find out. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's jump right in. Of course, as this video will be covering Invincible, whose show is now only really hitting the halfway point of the comic story, there will be spoilers for all of Invincible in this video.
The halfway point? Damn. So we might get another 4 seasons, maybe? Damn.
Video. With that being understood, let's begin with the scaling of... So to begin, let's cover the stats that are most consistent between the cartoon and the comic, which is speed. Both in the Invincible TV show and comics, Viltrumites like Mark and other comparable characters have flown across absolutely ridiculous distances between galaxies and solar systems in relatively short periods of time. The kind of numbers that these feats get to in Invincible are so incomprehensibly high, it kind of loses all meaning. But at the bare minimum, it makes characters moving these speeds insanely consistent. I'm honestly going to just throw up a couple of these feats feats on screen to show how
What is
insanely
that?
consistent
That
this
is
stuff is, ranging anywhere from
that was
60,000
Mark's
times
face.
the
What
speed
the
of
fuck?
light at the absolute low end to 700 trillion times the speed of light at a high end, with many
Damn.
feats falling in the tens of millions of times faster than light range. Now, many people who are against the scaling of Invincible will point out that this is only travel speed and not combat speed, and that the Invincible handbook implies that Viltrumite flight is actually done through subspace teleportation. I've mentioned this before, but the main issue of this claim is that it's merely a hypothesis about how the process works, and in the same databook, characters like Alan are stated to have reactions directly equal to his flight speed in order not to crash into planets and cause massive harm. We've also seen Invincible characters react to and dodge spaceships that are moving at these intergalactic speeds, again making it really consistent that all of these speed stats are connected. The only actual true nerf to Invincible speed comes from the fact that while on Earth, he does hold back his speed, as do most other characters, because if they move fast enough, it causes widespread destruction, like we see from Omni-Man and Conquest.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Stop holding back, showing they absolutely.
Hold on, bro. I might have to retract my statement about what the fuck I said, because I forgot that nigga did that shit. That shit was crazy. That shit was hard. That shit was hard. That nigga, man, Nolan was going crazy.
Could move faster if they actually want to. Now, moving on to strength, it's pretty safe to say that even by the halfway point of the story, and especially by the end, Mark already scales to or above pretty much all of the best feats done by any other individuals in the story, Viltrumite or otherwise. This is insanely impressive, given that Viltrumites continually adapt and grow stronger over time, and live for at least thousands of years. And yet for most of the story, Mark hasn't even lived a single human lifetime, while still scaling to the first and second strongest Viltrumites in power. So it's likely that Emperor or Adult Prime Mark massively gaps his younger self.
He got that shit on.
Thrag. There's literally no way to demonstrate his strength growth. We do know that in only 3 months of training, his strength grew by 138%, but there is literally no way to demonstrate he would continue to experience that growth into adulthood. But it still leads credence to Mark growing more powerful over time.
Unless we got like a sequel.
Starting with the scaling of the TV show, Mark is already consistently multi-continental to moon level, with him taking multi-continental bombs straight to the face without his costume even taking damage, and his normal training routine causing multi-continental shockwaves across the moon. But both of these Season 3 feats are Mark without any of his normal rage boosts, which allow him contend, at least partially, with the likes of Conquest, the second strongest Viltrumite, meaning at his peak already in the show, Mark should scale above or to his father Omni-Man. Omni-Man has feats of potentially yeeting Texas-sized meteors away from the Earth and pulling spaceships out of the gravitational pull of black holes. Both of these feats come up to moon level in strength, which should also scale to attack potency, given that these are the same smart atoms that they use to fly around and punch. The comics bring in plenty of more feats and potential scales for Mark. For example, characters like Universa can wipe out civilizations spanning planets.
But she was tripping though, coming in, she pulling up and trying to take our, you know what I'm saying, increase our light bill and shit like that, bro. She was tripping, bro. She was tripping. Bad bitch, but she was tripping.
8 times the size of Earth in a single attack, making her attack potency already nearly small planet level at the bare minimum, and Mark repeatedly tanks attacks from her during the fight. Later on, of course, you have the destruction of planet Viltrum, along with plenty of other statements from characters like Thrag that Viltrumites tearing apart planets is a relatively easy feat. However, one of the best feats of the verse doesn't even come from a Viltrumite at all, and comes instead from Tech Jacket, a character who again is pretty clearly weaker than most Viltrumite warriors and Invincible, at least during the point he pulls off this feat of throwing this spaceship into the sun, which causes an explosion pretty comparable in size to the star, which comes out to large planet level if taken with the most credit, because without much other context, this could be a perspective thing, but I digress. And that's probably all the scaling Invincible needs. There's definitely no other feats I'm forgetting. So at his peak, Mark is at worst planetary, with mid-ends putting him at large planetary, and high ends, depending on calcs, getting him to star to solar system level, which I don't personally agree with, but hey, they exist. As for speed, again, Mark is tens of millions to maybe trillions of times the speed of light. Aside from that, there's not really much else to talk about, because besides being able to fly, he mostly just relies on his insane resilience and strength to defeat his opponents. But will this be enough for the big three? Let's get into it. Going through the big three, we'll begin with who I think is the clear weakest verse of the big three: One Piece and Monkey D. Luffy. Sorry, One Piece fans. And this is one of those...
Really? I ain't gonna lie. Shit. I would have put them above Naruto at least. Damn, maybe I'm tripping.
situations where as a power scaler, I think it's kind of hard to present the two sides in this fight like it's reasonably close at all. Even Mark from the TV show's scaling being moon level already puts him on the same level of the best feats we've ever been shown in the One Piece verse, being the planetary scale earthquakes caused by Whitebeard and Blackbeard, which also come out to moon level in power. In other words, even a single Viltrumite being small planetary at a low ball is probably enough to overpower the strongest pirates in history. Now, some will argue that the highest tiers in One Piece should be outright planetary or beyond due to the fact that it was old Whitebeard, or the fact that the gear forms provide multipliers, implying that base Luffy is currently stronger than Whitebeard, but whatever. This is just to get to Mark's absolute disgusting low ball ends of power. Of course,
That's crazy.
Luffy has infinitely more hacks than Invincible, but I don't think they really matter when there is such a massive gap in strength between the two of them. Now, I know some people are going to bring up Luffy's supposed immunity to physical attacks that don't have Haki and the cartoon powers of Gear 5, but you actually have to prove how far this immunity or resistance goes. It doesn't matter how much rubber is able to rebound, it's not surviving a planetary explosion. And
also,
Luffy,
Kaido still putting belt to ass.
Get hurt from Mark's punches, that's fine, because Mark could just punch Luffy into space and throw him into the sun, which is something he does in character against strong opponents that he can't hurt otherwise. Offensive hacks also doesn't really work in Luffy's favor. Conqueror's Haki is definitely not working on Mark, who has some of the most impressive willpower feats in fiction and is quite literally the leader of his former Conqueror.
With his fine shit right there.
Like Maharaga. There's also Luffy's proposed durability negation attacks, and the problem is I don't really think they're actually hitting Mark because the speed gap is also really bad. No amount of observation Haki is making up for the fact that Luffy is getting hit by punches millions of times faster than light, and even the most ridiculous joke scales for Luffy get him only a few hundred to a few thousand times faster than light. Realistically, Luffy isn't even going to have the chance to go Gear 5 and is being laid out by a single punch from normal Mark. Next up, let's talk about Naruto.
I guess my scaling ass thing, cause I would put Naruto, One Piece above Naruto, low key, on the cool. Damn, but then again, Shippuden, that's when she get ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Low key, even this fight.
Because a good while ago, I actually covered Naruto versus Omni-Man, and I do think my thoughts on this fight have slightly changed. Without a doubt, Invincible would still hold the speed advantage against Naruto, just like he would against Luffy, but attack potency and power is a bit more questionable. I've said this time and time again, but adult Naruto scales the characters beyond the level of Kaguya and Toneri, who scale anywhere from planetary to worst to solar system at best, from their attacks being able to wipe out or destroy celestial bodies like moons, planets, and stars, as well as the distance between them. Again, only the most high-end calcs or interpretations possible for Mark get him to that star to solar system level of Naruto just at the end of Shippuden, let alone his adult self, who's substantially stronger. Still, if you think a big enough speed gap is all that is required to win, then Mark could just blitz the Hokage regardless of strength. It's hard to quantify Naruto's FTL speeds though. I definitely think he is that fast, but there is no way to get him to the tens of millions of times that even some of the worst feats in Invincible have to offer. Like, yeah, there are multiple light speed jutsu across the story of Naruto, but to say how much faster is to make an argument not really supported by anything in the story. Again, just like with Luffy, Invincible looks like a bum compared to Naruto hacks-wise, with his potential thousands of clones nuking the battlefield with cellular cutting and atomizing Rasen Shuriken, or his Kurama avatar. So there's this kind of lopsided stat gap here, where most of the time Naruto isn't going to be able to hit Invincible, but if he does, he just one-shots Mark instantly. However, if you do think they have comparable strength, then Naruto's hacks really doesn't matter, because Mark would just pummel him down before he has a chance to make any of his clones or form a
beat his ass. That's a bit.
Now, with the concession that Invincible's travel speed is nerfed while on the surface of a planet most of the time, the most likely win condition for Naruto is simply launching one of his big AoE explosions and catching Invincible in its radius before it's time to accelerate to his massively faster than light speeds on the surface. So what do you guys think about this one? Is this a speed or an AP diff? Finally, let's talk about Ichigo.
That's a hard one right there, boy. Damn. It's 50-50, I guess. Either way, you feel me?
Go in Bleach, and of the big three, I don't think anyone would disagree that the Bleachverse certainly has the highest high ends of any of the big three,
Yeah.
especially when taking into account the Bleach anime and movies that have given plenty more
Yeah.
statements and feats for Ichigo than the original manga simply doesn't have. As is the theme today, once again, Invincible's verse massively gaps the Bleach versus speed, with the best feats in Bleach getting to hundreds to potentially thousands of times faster than light. Ichigo would unsurprisingly scale above pretty much everyone else in the verse by the end of the manga, meaning he would scale over feats like the level destruction of Yama's meteor, or the far more impressive statements from Squad Zero shaking the heaven and earth and multiple realms.
Yeah,
now,
that shit crazy.
I don't personally think Ichigo scales to the multi-realm destruction caused by Yuha, changing the balance of souls with the Soul King's power, as that's pretty explicitly just a universal rule within the verse established from the very beginning. Still, Ichigo's AP has complete overlap with Mark's, while also having many arguments to get it even higher. So honestly, it's the exact same situation with Naruto, where again, Ichigo's strength would let him one-shot Mark, but his speed is nowhere near consistently high enough to where he's landing hits on him, unless he does a big area of effect attack that Mark can get away from, like a Getsuga Tensho. However, Ichigo might not even need to throw attacks to actually kill Mark, because of his passive spiritual pressure. Mark and all of Invincible don't really have any soul resistance or strength feats, meaning Ichigo might be able to just take out Mark by overpowering his soul through sheer aura, and Mark would not be able to sense it happening. So, taking everything into account, can Invincible defeat the big three? Probably not. While I think he pretty easily beats Luffy and has a solid chance of beating Naruto, Ichigo, through just having passive offensive hacks and higher...
I'm watching Bleach right now, bro, and I cannot wait to get to this shit again. Oh my god, bro, that shit was so clean.
Ends of attack potency scaling
What's a
to
bit
make up
weave?
for the fact that Mark is faster than literally anything in all three of their stories. Now, wait for when Season 4 gives Mark a universal feat for no reason. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you to my members, and
Oh, well, you never know. You never know, bro. Niggas might just change some bullshit. You know what I mean? You never know. Oh yeah, but this season, I already know. Off season 1, I mean episode 1 alone, yeah, this season will be lit. Even the second episode, yeah, this season won't be lit. Oh my god, but is this only 6 episodes or is it 8? I saw somebody say a review episodes 1 through 6. I'm like, nigga, is it only 6? I guess. But hey, man, shout out to Mark, man. Hey, he tried, bro. He trying, bro. Damn, One Piece. Hey, bro. I love One Piece. I didn't think it was that damn weak. That's crazy work. But damn. Anyway, shout out to Lonks, man. W video, bro. Also, the game coming out next month too, bro. The end of next month. God, Lord have mercy. It's gonna be a long wait. I mean, not week, but yeah. Ichigo, yeah. I don't know. He was gonna struggle. The most he was gonna struggle with is Ichigo for damn sure. Ichigo, because some niggas is ignorant that verse. Lord have mercy. But yeah, spiritual pressure. You know what I'm saying? Lock him down. I'm like, damn, why the fuck I can't move? And that's it, bro. That's it. Slink. You feel me? Slink. So, ooh, man. That's gonna be tough, man. That's gonna be tough, bro. But Invincible though, man. I like these little discussion videos, man, because you never know, bro. You just never know. It's always just fun to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Who win the fight? You know, take the bias out, because everybody biased about their favorite show. You know what I mean? But look, I love Goku and Vegeta, but are they beating Superman in the main shit anyway? No. Do I feel like they should? Yes. Them niggas grind their ass off. I feel like they should. But it ain't gonna work though. But anyway, love y'all. Thanks for watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to Lonks again. Get them to 100K. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.